Ladies and gentlemen, and my dear friends, welcome to Tata Crucible, the Campus Quiz 2021. This year, the Campus Quiz is going to be an entirely digital experience. Thousands of you have been part of the preliminary rounds, from which we are now down to the 24 cluster rounds. The stage is set, and it just does not get bigger than this. Presenting the wild cards at the cluster rounds is the only lady professional quiz host across Asia, a lady who was among 40 under 40 in the year 2020 in that list. A prolific host, no new face to Tata Crucible. Time for you to welcome on stage Miss Rashmi Furtado.
Hello ladies and gentlemen and all you quizzers, welcome to Tata Crucible Campus Quiz 2021. We have had thousands of students taking part in the multiple preliminary rounds that we had, and now the stage is set for the cluster final, the 24 cluster finals that we have this year. Every cluster final has 2 wild cards, and from the 2 wild cards, the top 6 scorers will qualify to the cluster final. From the cluster final, one winner will move on to the zonal final. The winners of the zonal final will move on to the national final and subsequently into the international final. What we need to remember here is that this is the first time ever that Tata Crucible Campus Quiz has gone onto a digital platform. So all of you are taking part individually from the comfort of your home and the safety of your home, which is most important in today's situation. Today, we are going to have our first wild card of the second cluster from Tamil Nadu. It's cluster number 6, but it's Tamil Nadu 2 actually. Since some of the regions have people taking part or students taking part from various colleges, the numbers were very high. So we had to distribute a particular region into 2 clusters. So this is the Tamil Nadu 2 cluster. All right, let me introduce our contestants to you first, and then move into the rules of the game. Guys, when I introduce you, if you could just wave and smile, that'll help. First up, we have Sharath from CIT. That's Coimbatore Institute of Technology. That's Sharath for you. Following him is Ragul from Bannariamman Institute of Technology. That's BAIT. Up next is Rohit from PSG College of Arts and Science. Following him is Shivansh from VIT Vellore. And completing our lineup is Harish from CIT. Well, there is Charan here, whom you can see on your screen, the photograph. He is from SKCET, but he could not join us here because of unforeseen circumstances. He had to unfortunately drop out at the last minute. But the show must go on, so we will continue this wild card with the 5 contestants that we have here today. Let's quickly go over the rules and then start this wild card. All right, guys, this is the first wild card of this cluster. I have 10 questions for you. All 10 questions are on the buzzer. +1 if you get it right, -1 if you get it wrong. Single attempt per question. Multiple attempts are not allowed. Nothing will appear on your screen, so you have to listen carefully to what I have to say. If you press the buzzer while I'm still reading out the question, I will stop reading the question because you are indicating to me that you already know the answer. Okay? Also, once you press the buzzer, I will call out your name, and only at that time will you unmute yourself and give me the answer. This has to happen within 3 to 5 seconds. You're not allowed to press the buzzer and then think about the answer. Also, I will wait for about 5 seconds after I read out a question for one of you to press the buzzer. If none of you press the buzzer in those 5 seconds, I will move to the next question. Okay? The time would have lapsed for the previous question. All these rules are put in place, guys, just to ensure fair play when it comes to quizzing on a digital platform. And this is something we have put in place for all our quizzes, it's become very important for us to do so. Like I mentioned earlier, the top 3 scorers from the 5 of you will move on to the cluster final. For all your audience, the audience questions will be asked in the cluster final. Also, the buzzer indicator light would not be appearing for the wild card, but in any case, I would be telling you who has pressed the buzzer. Guys, the buzzers are very, very sensitive, so please be careful. A light touch will activate the buzzers. So if your name appears here, you have to give me an answer. You cannot tell me I pressed the buzzer by mistake, okay? So be very careful when you play your game. All right, good luck to all of you. Question number 1, here we go. Which electronics brand is the world's largest memory chips manufacturer, Dell or Samsung? Shivansh on the buzzer, go ahead.
So Samsung.
+1 to you, Shivansh. Absolutely right. He gets a +1 on that. Samsung is the right answer. Moving on, question number 2. Here we go. Which soft drink brand was created by bottlers Barney and Ali Hartman, who were from Tennessee? Mountain Dew or Fanta? Sharad, go ahead.
Mountain Dew.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. It gives him a +1. Moving on, question number 3. Paloma Picasso's Loving Heart and Sugar Stacks and Frank Gehry's collections like Axis, Orchid, Torque and Tube are part of which company's products? Your options, Harrods or Tiffany's? Sharad, go ahead.
Tiffany's.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Tiffany's will give him a +1 on that. Moving on, question number 4. The buzzers are clear. Which Swedish clothing brand was originally started? Shivansh, go ahead.
The going for IKEA.
Oh, -1 Shivansh. I said Swedish clothing brand. I think it was a rush of blood. You have to be careful. You're a good quizzer. The question was, which Swedish clothing brand was originally started in a shop called Hens, which is Hennes, which is Swedish for hers? The answer, H&M. H&M would have given you that +1. It's okay, you're not on a negative score, so it's easier for you to build up into the positives. We still have 6 more questions to go. Question number 5, here we go. Which company owns the British cosmetic giant, The Body Shop? Your options, Lakme or L'Oreal? Shivansh, go ahead.
So L'Oreal.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. L'Oreal giving him that +1. He quickly makes up for the -1 that he had earlier and he's in the positives now. Question number 6, here we go. Who owns the water brand Evian? Rohit, go ahead.
Danone.
Danone, he's absolutely right. Could you mute yourself, Rohit? All right. Absolutely right. Danone giving him a +1 on that. Moving on, question number 7. Here we go. Which company owns the brand of board game Monopoly? Shivansh, go ahead.
Hasbro.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Hasbro giving him a +1 on that. As of now, I have Shivansh and Sharad both on +2 apiece and Rohit on +1. And we have 3 more questions to go. Let's see what happens. Question number 8. Here we go. The name of which photo sharing service is a blend of the name of Spanish painter Pablo Picasso? Sharad, go ahead.
Picasso.
+1 to you. I expected one of you to press the buzzer when I said Spanish painter. Shivansh is smiling. I think he was waiting to press the buzzer, but Sharad beat him to it. +1 on that. Moving on, question number 9. Which audio products manufacturing company was started by Jimmy Iovine and Andre Young? Sharad, go ahead.
Beats.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. +1. Beats is the right answer. Beats audio. All right, the buzzers are clear. Now, Sharath is on +4. It's very safe to say he's moved into the cluster final. One more question remaining. Here we go. When this company bought office space in San Francisco, they had invited dogs for the press event and provided beds for them. Which company am I talking about? Dogs invited for the press event. Rohit, go ahead.
Is it Microsoft?
Oh, why would you do this, Rohit, when you are on a +1, -1 on that? Zynga is the right answer. You remember, Zynga is actually the name of the dog of the owners, if I'm not wrong, and the logo is also of a dog. Zynga would have given you that +1. You could have easily made it to the cluster final if you had not even attempted this question. Anyway, never mind. We have Sharath and Shivansh, who are both on positive scores, 4 and 2 respectively, and they have made it to the cluster final. But now I have to find the third person to secure who will now make it to the third spot of the cluster final. So I'm getting my tiebreaker questions out. Okay, Sharath and Shivansh, both of you need not try at all. You can stay away from your buzzers. The rest of you, Ragul, Rohit, Harish, you can try for all of these questions. Sudden death, you get it right, you move into the cluster final. You get it wrong, the other two continue to play for the tiebreaker. Okay, good luck. Duo is a video calling app by which company? Harish is on the buzzer. Go ahead, Harish.
It's Google.
Absolutely right. Google giving him a +1, and he joins Shivansh and Sharath into the cluster final. Congratulations to all three of you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for this first wild card. But stay tuned, the second one is coming up in a couple of minutes. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and all you enthusiastic quizzers to Tata Crucible Campus Quiz 2021. We have completed the first wild card of the second cluster from Tamil Nadu. It's called the Tamil Nadu 2 cluster. We have multiple regions which are very, very large in numbers in terms of participation. So we have had to break it down. So this is the second cluster from Tamil Nadu. We have completed the first wild card, and now we will start the second wild card. Let me introduce all our contestants to you and then get on to the rules of the game. First up, we have Priyanka from PSG College of Technology. Following her is Vaishnav from SNS College of Technology. Following him is Surya Vimal from Sona School of Management. Up next is Srihari from PSG College of Technology. And completing our lineup here today is Arifa from Government College of Technology, Coimbatore. Well, Subarna from VIT Vellore was to join us, but due to some unforeseen circumstances, unfortunately, he couldn't join us. He had to drop out at the last minute. But nevertheless, the show must go on, so we continue with this wild card. There are 5 of you here, and 3 of you will qualify to the cluster final. We have already identified the first 3 finalists from our first wild card. All right, guys, good luck to all of you. Let's start with the second wild card. Like I said, you have to listen to what I have to say, so nothing will appear on your screen. Good luck. Scoring pattern, +1, -1. Question number 1, here we go. Which brand from P&G was created because their researcher, Victor Mills, disliked changing the cloth diapers of his newborn grandchild, and hence he assigned researchers to look into? Surya Vimal is on the buzzer. Go ahead. Unmute yourself, Vimal.
Pampers.
Please repeat the answer.
Pampers. Pampers.
Absolutely right. Getting a +1 on that is Surya Vimal. A good start for him. Moving on, question number 2. Here we go. Which beer, first brewed in Belgium, is named after the Latin word for star? Your options are Budweiser or Stella Artois. Priyanka, go ahead.
Stella Artois.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Stella Artois giving her a +1 on that one. Moving on, question number 3. Here we go. Which fast food brand is owned and operated by Doctors Associates? McDonald's or Subway? Shri Hari, go ahead.
McDonald's.
-1 on that, Shri Hari. Subway would have given you a +1. Moving on, question number 4. Here we go. In 1992, which luxury brand launched its cheaper line, which is named Miu Miu, Miu, aiming to capture a more... Priyanka, go ahead.
Is the answer Prada?
+1, absolutely right. Prada giving her a +1 on that. She's on +2 already. If you ask me from what I've seen so far, it is a good score to qualify to the cluster final since 3 of them have to qualify. Let's see what happens. Question number 5, here we go. Satellite is a range of laptops by which Japanese brand? Not an unknown brand at all. Very well known brand. Surya Vimal, go ahead.
Toshiba.
+1. Absolutely right. Toshiba giving him a +1 on that. Question number 6. Here we go. OnePlus, Vivo, and Oppo. Vaishnav, go ahead.
It was by mistake. Can you repeat the question?
I can't do that, Vaishnav. I have explained the rules to you already. -1 on that, Vaishnav.
They are Chinese brand like that. Anyone?
Well, -1 on that.
Okay.
The question was OnePlus, Vivo, and Oppo are all brands owned by which Chinese group? BBK Electronics would have given Vaishnav a +1, but he was a little too fast on the buzzers. I had warned them earlier saying the buzzers are very sensitive and they have to be careful, but he takes a -1 on that. Let's clear the buzzers and move on to question number 7. Here we go. Pedigree is a brand of pet foods owned by which American conglomerate? All of us are aware of Pedigree, but who owns Pedigree? Priyanka, go ahead.
Is it Johnson & Johnson?
Oh, taking a -1. Mars is the right answer. Mars, the chocolate brand, that is the company that owns Pedigree. It's not very well known, actually. That's the reason we put it in such wildcard questions. As of now, ladies and gentlemen, Priyanka just took a -1, so she's on +1, and Surya Vimal is on +2. I have 3 more questions remaining. There is a good chance that even on a +1, Priyanka might make it to the cluster final. Let's see what happens. Question number 8, here we go. Orkut was a social media company, or rather for social media brand that was owned by Facebook or Google. I said Orkut, Orkut. Surya Vimal, go ahead.
Google.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. I don't think you all would know Orkut very well, but yes, it was probably one of the very first few social media platforms that had opened up. He gets a +1 on that, and with that he's on +3. It's safe to say he's made it to the cluster final. He's played his game very well. Moving on, question number 9. Here we go. The French IT services company Alti, which is ALTI, was acquired by which Indian company in 2013? TCS or Infosys? Oh, Vaishnav, go ahead.
TCS.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. With that, he negates the -1 that he had and he's on nil. Well, he can still make it to the cluster final if he gets a +1 on the next one. But Arifa can also do the same. If Srihari gets a +1 on the next one, then I think we'll have a tiebreaker for the third spot. Priyanka is watching. If she doesn't mess it up for herself in the next question, she too has made it to the cluster final. Let's see what happens. Question number 10, here we go. Which Indian born was the co-founder and the first CEO of Sun Microsystems? Vinod Khosla or Narayan Murthy? Arifa is on the buzzer. Go ahead, Arifa.
Narayana Murthy.
All right, she takes a -1 on that. She said Narayan Murthy. The answer I was looking for is Vinod Khosla. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we have Priyanka, Vaishnav and Surya Vimal, all three of them making it to the cluster final. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, our three finalists who have secured their spot in the cluster final. You don't go anywhere. The cluster final is coming up in a few minutes, so stay tuned.
Friends, put your hands together to welcome on stage Quizmaster Big Brain.
Hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Big Brain, here today at yet another Tamil Nadu cluster for Tata Crucible for Campuses 2021. Well, you just watched IIM Trichy in the previous cluster trouncing in the final moments of the quiz against a formidable IIT Madras to win the title of one of our Tamil Nadu clusters. We are here with the second Tamil Nadu cluster, which is more down south of or southwest of Tamil Nadu, which would be Coimbatore, Madurai, Tanjavur, Salem, and that entire belt. Tamil Nadu is a very large state for us, and we therefore allocate more than a cluster to Tamil Nadu itself. So from the second cluster of Tamil Nadu, if I should call it that, and our sixth cluster overall, it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce to you our 6 finalists here today before we move into the battle itself. Qualifying as our first finalist here today into our final after those grueling preliminary rounds that all of them have faced and the wild cards with Rashmi, here we are with our first finalist, Sharat, representing CIT Coimbatore. Welcome to you, Sharat. Neighboring Sharat as our second finalist, we have with us from the Vellore Institute of Technology, Shivansh. Welcome, Shivansh. Neighboring him, another contestant from CIT from Coimbatore is Harish. Welcome, Harish. The lone lady in our battle here today, and we seem to have a lot of these lone ladies in every cluster walking into a final, from PSG College of Technology is Priyanka. Welcome, Priyanka, into our final. As we move across to SNS College of Technology, representing them from Coimbatore is Vaishnav. Welcome to you. And completing our lineup here today from Salem's Sona School of Management in the final here today is Surya Vimal. Welcome to you, Surya. Ladies and gentlemen, those then are 6 contestants. 100 the value, 5 seconds the duration for them to play every question. It is time for us to start playing this game, and remember, you get 100 or you lose 100, only 5 seconds. Hands on the buzzer, questions on your screen. We pick action on the first frontier of our battle here today at Tata Crucible, the second leg of Tamil Nadu, with all our contestants having to get swifter, literally. Here it comes. Starting with the first one, 100 the value, 5 seconds. Keep that at the back of your mind as you start your buzzing game. On screen, here it comes. All of this will lead you to a company from the world of Tatas. Harish has gone for it. Quick on the buzzer. Yes. A Tata company will be your overall answer. 5 seconds
Tata
of
Coffee.
time.
Tata Coffee.
Minus 100 to you. It's Tata Consumer Products, which partners with all these companies, including Pepsi. They have an interesting tie-up. The joint venture with Starbucks, of course, is the famous one. If you can hold your buzzers up. As we go to the next one, hands on that buzzer. Question on your screen. Here it comes. Microsoft acquired us, Sharat, in a flash.
GitHub.
Plus 100. Super quick and fast. He's got that right. As we go to the next one, on your screens, now. All you got to tell me is the name of the great author. Priyanka has gone for it. The 4-hour week or work week. Yes, Priyanka.
Tim Ferriss.
Lovely. Well played on that. She'll get 100. Good quality answer. And it takes her to 100. As we go to the next one, on the buzzers, on your screen, here it comes. It's a brand that was named after a goddess, started in a simple home. Vaishnav.
It's a supermarket, Lakshmi.
Minus 100.
No,
Well, started in a small, humble home in Triplicane in Chennai. This is from 1915.
Ambika Appam Depot.
Is
I'm
absolutely
thinking of it.
correct, but you will not get your marks because you gave me the wrong answer. Well, hard luck, my friend. You gave me a wrong answer and then you rectified it, but that's well beyond the 5 seconds of time. So a minus 100 to you on that. Ambika Appam is absolutely correct, but hard luck to you on that. 5 seconds is all you have. As we go to the next one, on your screens, here it comes. This is a famous group in India which gives you keep safe. It kills 99.99% germs without water is what it says. Which FMCG company would you associate this to? 5 seconds of time lapsing. Nobody on the buzzer. The answer that I was looking for is Marico Industries. Tough one for our contestants. As we go to the next one, the final one in the first frontier, early days in our battle. On your screen, here it comes. This is a famous effect. It is the theory that the future life expectancy of some non-perishable things, for example, technology or an idea, is proportional to their current age, so that every additional period of survival implies a longer remaining life expectancy. This is called what effect? Well, 5 seconds ticking away. Turns out to be another tough one for the Coimbatore-Salem region of Tata Crucible. The answer is the Lindy effect. Lindy is a very famous metaphor in which the effect gets named. And as we're going to move into the second frontier, I will show you the scores in just a moment. But let me do a couple of questions for all those of you who are actually watching this quiz on the internet. And of late, we've got a lot of young kids, school kids, watching Tata Crucible, given that it is available on the internet at their comfort, home and time. Well, since I asked you Ambika Appam, let me ask you this one. It's an interesting one. Which brand in India was inspired by 7 women under the name Mahila Griha Udyog? It's a famous brand. Your clue is Ambika Appam. Well, in a sense. All right, key in the answers into the text box wherever you're watching this quiz and you could win a prize from the Tatas. Let me ask you the next question. Originally established by Sir Syed Ahmad Khan as Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College In 1875 in India, how does India know this outstanding university? Good question from the world of academia. Let's see you cracking that in your chat box. For the moment, let me get back to our contestants here in our lineup at the cluster of Tamil Nadu for Coimbatore, Salem region. As we take a look at where they stand, Crucible quotient on your screen reads 100 to Sharat, 100 to Priyanka. Early days, really nothing much to tell on that scorecard. As we move to the second frontier of our battle, I'm sure all of them will get sharper as we progress and quite literally play sharper. Here it comes. On the second frontier, hands on the buzzer and keep an eye on that screen as we start with the first one on your screens now. Sharat, even before I could ask. Go ahead, Sharat. Sampan.
Okay, this is from Tata Consumers.
Very well played. Sampan has now become part of Tata Consumer Products. Cleverly played and a good 100 to him. As we go to the next one on your screens, now. This is a famous Ahmedabad-based pharma giant.
This is Torrent Pharma.
Oh, he's quick and fast and he's got that right. And he's got another 100 into his kitty. Hands on the buzzer on the next one. Here it comes. Who is acquiring podcast hosting company Megaphone for $235 million? Think audio. Shivansh.
Spotify.
Clever. Oh, that's a clever answer. 100 to him. I think he took a chance, which is why that reaction happens. But that's a clever chance to take, and quizzers do that. They hedge the odds and they work an answer. As we go to the next one on your screens, now. Adding the la brings a feeling of France, yet it is an Indian brand. It specializes in manufacturing and selling high-quality cutlery and tableware. Sushil Junjunwala is the man who created this company in 1988. Famous in the world of high-quality cutlery and tableware. Big name. The la brings a feeling of France. So that's part of your answer. No one. 5 seconds lapsing. The answer I was looking for is La Opala. And you see this all over your retail stores is La Opala. It's got nothing to really do with France. It's just great branding strategy. As we go to the next one and gain a little bit of time, on the next one on your screen, here it comes. Which famous brand would you associate him for this campaign? India's only disinfectant with up to 24 hours of protection, said this company bravely. It's also known for its creams, etc. Lotions, creams. No one taking chances here. The answer that I was looking for is Imami. Imami with Shikhar Dhawan. I thought, honestly, that's not too tough. And someone would have cracked it. As we go to the next one, and nonetheless, we're moving swiftly from question to question. It seems to be a tight final for me. As we progress to the next question on your screen, here it comes. Which FMCG company has roped in this new star? Sharat is giving it a go. Women's Plus
GSK. This is GlaxoSmithKline.
is a minus 100 to you. Well, getting a wrong hit on that, the answer is Hindustan Unilever. Well, HUL is now behind the Women's Plus brand, and it turns out to be a tough one for Sharat. He's missed out on that brand movement. As we go to the next one, and he loses 100 in a hurry. On screen, here it comes. It's the old logo of a great airline. Sharath.
American Airlines.
Perfectly correct. Oh, quick and fast. No nonsense 100 to him. As we move to the next one, and he moves back to the 300 if my mental math is right. And here's the next question. Hands on that buzzer. Question on your screen now. Identify a brand from a person who launched a surprise attack on the Spanish garrisons in Panama City. Today, we've got a brand named after him. It's a famous variant of rum that you would associate to this quote-unquote leader. Surya Vimal, go ahead.
Old Monk.
Oh, that's not Old Monk. He gets a minus 100 on that. Captain Morgan would have been the right answer. On screen, here's the next one coming up now. This was a young man, an American entrepreneur, who is believed to have worked with the FBI. The world knows him better for creating an amazing entertainment corporation. How do we know this person from the FBI to the Red Cross? Various organizations where he's played roles. Sharath again.
Walt Disney.
Well played. Extremely well played. He's got that absolutely right. Well, of course, no one can ever confirm the FBI part unless FBI says it themselves. But nonetheless, Red Cross is a known confirmed association to the great Walt Disney, who was, in fact, an ambulance driver for Red Cross. And he used to actually draw cartoons on his ambulance to make patients feel not so bad and to entertain them. And that started a cartooning career for him. Remarkable man. All right. Couple more questions to go. I'll take the scores after that. And I think it will get a little tight. But let me go to the next one. Let's see who gets this one. Overall answers, what matters? Here it comes. All of this will lead you to an important group. Sharath.
Murugappa.
Sharath is in invincible form, and if he continues playing like this, I think it's going to be difficult for anybody to stop him. His reaction time is less than 1 second sometimes, and that is unbelievable reaction time, which means he's so thorough with everything. Here's the next one on your screens. Now, careful. Sharath again.
This is Elon Musk.
Explain.
I don't know what eBay and Numi is. I think that is his mother, and Solar City is by Elon Musk.
Absolutely perfect. Oh, he's got that absolutely right. Well, Solar City, I think, was a big giveaway for especially engineering kind of students who come from this background. But nonetheless, 100 to Sharath, and that is really what matters. And he's cruising along. I think he's either on 500 or 600. I would say 600 on my mental math, but we'll come back to that at the end of the next question. The final question in this frontier on your screens now. Careful. All these brands are believed to come out of a lab. That's how they position themselves. Shivansh from Vellore.
This is Jyoti Labs, I think.
Oh, clever. Cleverly played by Shivansh. He's taking his half chances, and I think that will take him to a 200. But you know what? It's a scorecard that's going to be worth watching, because the second place battle might also be brewing, even if we assume Sharath's going to run away with this final the way he's playing. But for the moment, before I come back to you with the scores, let me ask you one more question. And well, since we've had a lot of the questions coming in on Jyoti Laboratories, we had Imami. So let me ask you one in that context. Which conglomerate in India would you associate to a person named Dr. Burman? It's an easy one if you know it. Into your chat boxes, type your answers. As we go and take a look at Crucible Quotient with one round to go, here's how it looks. Leading this quiz with 600, and that is a supremely commanding position to be in, Sharath from CIT. With less than 1 second of reaction time, he thoroughly seems to be prepared for this year's Tata Crucible. On 100 is Priyanka. On 200 is Shivansh. So the lineup is Coimbatore, and Vellore. Or rather, Coimbatore, Vellore, and Coimbatore in that order if we go by the scores. The others will have to claw their way back and claw their way back substantially if they're going to try to challenge Sharath. But Shivansh could be a challengeable target for many of them. And a second place at a Tata Crucible has a lot of prize money as well. For the moment, Sharath, in my opinion, will play his game a little carefully and prudently, because from here he would want to be in the top 24 of the country. And he's not going to just watch his score, he's going to watch the others on how much they score. And that is going to be equally important for him. We move to the final frontier of our game here today. It's time for everyone to start thinking smarter. Here it comes. In a world where sometimes uncertainty can perhaps cloud certainty, you need to be swifter, you need to be sharper, you need to be smarter. And in this round, what you got to do is you should realize when to go for the answer, because I'm not going to show you anything on your screens. I'm going to read out the questions. You will decide when you think you know the answer. And in doing so, you can outsmart the other 5. But you got to get it right, else you get a -100. That's the risk. So if you think you know the answer, you can press the buzzer, stop me from continuing to read the question and say, well, I'm smart enough, I know the answer, allow me to go for it. So, final frontier, I read the questions, you buzz when you think you know the answer, starting with the first one. Hands on that buzzer. These are round cherry-shaped chilies from the southern side of Tamil Nadu, commonly used in the production of sambar. They look like dried bush berries. Pepper-fried dishes, especially in Chettinad cuisine, generously use this variety of chili. It gets its name from a city in Tamil Nadu. What chili am I talking about? Well, I honestly did not expect this to go unanswered, and the answer that I was looking for is the Salem chili, or the Salem gundu as they call it in Tamil Nadu. Well, here's the next one. It was originally known as Odeo, a podcasting site, ODEO. When Apple announced that it was entering the podcasting space, Odeo knew it could not compete. It turned itself into something else under a manager named Dorsey. How does the world know it today? Surya Vimal.
Twitter.
Is correct. He'll get 100 on that. Jack Dorsey, the person I was describing. Twitter, the answer. 100 to Surya Vimal from Salem. But he's going to be kicking himself saying, how did I not get the Salem chili right? Well, every time he's got to have his sambar next in Salem, he's going to remember that question. 4 questions to go, and Sharath will be waiting for the next one, because after that, that smile is going to become even broader. All of you, if you could hold your buzzers up. Next question. Here it comes. It was first manufactured in India in 1910 or round about that in Kolkata by Japanese immigrants. Shortly after World War II, the production shifted to Tamil Nadu, which became India's largest producer of these. Today, Sharath
These are firecrackers.
will give you a -100. Just what he did not want. Well, prior to the firecrackers, to understand the fire business, Tamil Nadu actually became India's largest manufacturers of matchsticks and matchboxes. And that is what led to the firecracker business. Eventually, a -100 to Sharath. He's opened up the window now for Shivans. And Shivans might just attack on the next 3 questions. Well, crucial moments. Here's the next one. This brand made its forays into cricket sponsorships from Ireland, Tribago Knight Riders, the Kolkata Knight Riders. They also recently partnered Royal Challengers Bengaluru. It's owned by Galactus Funware. It's a game that can make you think. And as a sponsor, Harish is going for it.
Dream 11.
He's a minus 100 to you. Well, MPL is the answer that I was looking for, supporters of Royal Challengers Bangalore, or RCB as it's more commonly known. 2 questions to go. It is now a battle for the second spot clearly as we go to the next one. Here it is. The documents revealing the evolution of this variety were all destroyed in the San Francisco earthquake of 1906. The entire headquarters of this organization got wrecked into just a few ledgers and employees who fled with whatever remaining documents they had. As players imitating these brands started imitating them from the 1930s, the company needed a new differentiator and added a tiny red tab at the back just to protect itself. Which great jeans brand are we talking about? Harish
Levi's.
is correct. Is absolutely correct. Levi's is absolutely right. It's a final question. If Priyanka gets it right, she's going to force a tiebreaker. No one else really in the race for the second spot. Sharath clearly moving into the nation's top 24. Final question, Priyanka versus Shivansh for the second place. Here I come. This word is derived from a Latin term for stumbling block. In ancient Greece, it was a kind of a trap for wild animals. In modern world, it is descriptive of an unusual business gain that gets into trouble, often described in the business world or in government, and leading to fraudulent accumulation of money. What one word, commonly that wrecks governments and business, am I describing? Priyanka is taking a half chance, I think. Go ahead, Priyanka.
Embezzlement.
Oh, that's a big word. Life is sometimes simpler than that. The answer is the root word which gives to the English word is scandal. A scandal comes from a Latin word, and you always have a business scandal or a scandal in the government. And well, tough one, but she went for it bravely on the last one and did not mind losing 100. And finishing runner-up is a very good quizzer and a former champion from the regional locations of a Tata Crucible, is Shivansh from VIT Vellore. But he just ran into some extremely robust and fast quizzing from Sharath here today. Sharath was almost off like Usain Bolt would be in a 100-meter dash. He was really quick on the buzzers and truly appreciate that. If Sharath can maintain that kind of a speed, he might just be able to take on all the IIMs who are lining up from the south. You've got IIM Bangalore, IIM Kozhikode, IIM Trichy, all the big guns lining up this year, one after the other. And to take them on, you've got to have a super fast Sharath from CIT. But for the moment, it's congratulations to all of you for being in the cluster final, which in itself, given the thousands who've taken part, is a huge achievement. Congratulations to all the 6 of you. And it's my pleasure and privilege at this point in time to bring in our guest of honor, a very senior member of the Tata fraternity, a very important person at that. He believes in excellence, he believes in quality, he believes in the smallest detail of things, which is so important, especially in the kind of world that we live in today. The eye for detail is what secures your future. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure and privilege to have with us here today at the Tata Crucible region from Tamil Nadu 2, as we could call it, the Chief Manufacturing Officer from the Jewelry Division of Titan, Mr. Sanjay Ranwande. Please join us, sir. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to this final. Lovely. Thank you so much for joining us. And if I'm not wrong, you're logging in from what, Hosur?
Yeah, yes.
Lovely. That's really what makes digital possible. You've got a chief guest from Hosur, you've got a quizmaster logging in from Bangalore, you've got contestants from Salem, from Coimbatore, from Vellore. Remarkable. The entire, it's actually one straight road, and all of us will fill into that straight road from Bengaluru to Coimbatore. But that's the beauty of it. Sir, the Tatas have always stood for knowledge. The Tatas have always stood for learning. But what's your first reaction to a quiz like this, sir?
So I'm really impressed with the knowledge what the student they displayed today. It's good. I was actually, in fact, a lot of this thing I myself was attempting. So I'm really happy. They're also keeping apart from their study, keeping what's happening in the industry, what's happening across the globe. I think it was really heartening to know that. I'm impressed with that.
So you come from the manufacturing side. You come from a company which represents manufacturing innovation in India, not just manufacturing. And today there's a lot of talk saying crisis like what we've seen is going to occur again, may not be at the magnitude that we have, hopefully not at the magnitude that we had. But the call of the hour is therefore to be innovative. The call of the hour is to be prepared. What's your message to such youngsters as a senior leader in the manufacturing sector, sir?
Yeah, see what we saw, in fact, this crisis really, see, we are always in the positive aspect of this crisis. In fact, we could connect with our team much more better. Because see, our team is scattered across the country. Earlier, there used to be challenges connecting, you need a video conferencing, but now this digital media has become very powerful. We use this time to connect with all our partners. We really use this time most effectively to sharpen the saw, become much more better. In fact, no, in this time period, we could actually now become more clear what is the way we should go about keeping the future in mind. And we are really ready with all our plans. We are clear with our priorities and then how we should. So I think this is what we understood during this point. And in fact, now we are doing even much better. So I see in that way. Yeah.
I like that line. When there is a crisis, use that time to sharpen the saw. Well, that's a lesson for all these youngsters and a very profound, simple lesson. Because if you're sharpening your saw, you're bound to have the lead in the future. Sanjay Saab, thank you so much for joining us. But I'd want you to stay by for a moment as we do the digital celebration here at Tata Crucible. The runner-up here today from VIT Vellore, Shivansh, will win himself 18,000 as our runner-up. Congratulations, Shivansh. I know that all this money is a lot more than that in value today, because 18,000 is a lot in today's market condition. And ladies and gentlemen, well, more than winning the prize amount, I think Sharath has become a very strong contender in the top 24. That's my honest assessment. But for now, the champion from this cluster, Sharath from CIT. Congratulations. 35,000 to him, and he's done remarkably well to earn that 35,000. He's dominated the final. He played out the last few questions quietly because he did not want to take a risk. Maybe he knew an MPL, maybe he knew Levi's. It's all possible that he would have tried on another day. But today was his day, and he was certainly prepared for it. Maybe, like our guest of honor said, he's been sharpening the saw over the last few months. That's what mattered. To all of you youngsters here, really wonderful to see you and the sharpness of this region. It's a region that I've always believed has great potential. Sometimes gets overshadowed by Chennai, Trichy, but that's not true at all, which is why we have a separate zonal built around Coimbatore. And I'm really happy to see the kind of performance and the manner in which you all have played it. For now, ladies and gentlemen, it is Sharath who emerges as our next champion, as we will wait for the next cluster and move from here up north, having covered all the southern terrain, to the central portion of India, as we come back to you with the next cluster from Chhattisgarh. Till then, from me, Pig Brain, from all of us here at Team Tata Crucible, you are watching a phenomenal Tamil Nadu final. To stay with us for all the following clusters. Till then, goodbye.